Americans choose to either celebrate or commiserate Donald Trump's election victory, there has been a sharp rise in Google searches in the U.S. about leaving the country. Stats reveal a sharp spike in the search term leaving the U.S. around the election. Well, searches for move to Canada surged more than 1,200% in the 24 hours after the East Coast polls closed. Similar searches about moving to New Zealand climbed nearly 2,000%, while those for Australia jumped 820%. Now, that's according to a survey by Expatsy, which specializes in helping Americans move abroad. The U.S. being too divided or conservative came out as the top reason to leave. Gun violence was another reason. The other was to save money. Well, a similar survey conducted before the election reveals different priorities. Then the desire to find adventure, enrichment, and growth came out as the main reason to depart. Well, for more, I want to welcome Jen Barnett, who is the co-founder of Expatsy and joins us now, I think, in Yucatan, Mexico. You are yourself an expat. What do you think about this surge in searches for people looking to perhaps leave the U.S. after the election?
Thanks so much. Yes, we live in Mexico. We love it. Our only regret is not moving sooner. And we've been stunned beyond belief by the traffic over the past week. We never expected it. Of course, we weren't sure what the election outcome would be, but we couldn't have anticipated this much growth in such a short time.
I mean, I'm an expat living here in the US from Australia. It's not an easy move. There's certainly a lot of paperwork. It takes a lot of effort. There's expenses. Explain why people want to move and considering the surge in the search, do you think people actually follow through with it?
That's a great question, and certainly most people will not make it all the way, but I think that more will than ever before. They showed that this year, 1 in 3 Americans is interested in moving abroad, and I think the math is just changing. There are more reasons to move to new countries and fewer reasons to want to stay in the United States, and those things in tandem are leading to more movement.
And take us through some of those reasons for wanting to move. Like, what are people leaving? Why are people wanting to leave?
Well, we ask people, and they're allowed to choose multiple reasons. And in the past, 70% of them almost chose adventure and personal growth, which is really positive. So yes, they might not like that the U.S. is too expensive or healthcare or things like that, but really they were thinking about healthy food and walkable cities and culture, art and culture that we might not have here in the United States, or weather or beaches and things like that that maybe they can't access. But in the week after the election, clearly there was a massive spike in leaving something more so than walking towards something, and I think that's where everyone is right now. I know I want to leave the U.S., but I'm not really sure where to go.
So what are the most preferred destinations that people consider? And what are the hurdles people sometimes face? Because it's not necessarily the grass is always greener once you get there, right?
That's right. And it depends on the way that you're moving abroad. The primary ways that people go are either as a digital nomad, which is a remote worker who can work anywhere, whether they're self-employed or they work for a U.S. company, or it's a skilled worker. So you have to have a specific set of skills, which is probably how you came to the U.S. Or you can go as a retiree or an investor, which is to say that you're going with your life savings, you're not taking a local job, and that's how you're going. And finally, of course, there are students. So the countries that are popular depend on the path that you're able to take. So for digital nomads and retirees, especially folks love Spain, Portugal, Mexico, Italy, France, and Greece. And we also have seen some growth in some non-traditional countries like Albania and Uruguay.
Interesting. Well, great perspective from you, Jen Barnett, founder of Expatsy. Thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure.